How did you get into Muay Thai?
Literally, like, I've always been a fan of like boxing and like any like striking sport.
Yeah.
And Joey C from Righteous Jams, the singer of Righteous Jams, he trains Muay Thai, and he's been training Muay Thai for like probably like 8 or 9 years now.
Okay.
And I hadn't seen him in a minute, and I was like thinking about schools or whatever, and I remember Joey talking about Sitan like years ago when he first started, because I think he was going to I don't know what gym he was going to, but he was going to another gym, and he was talking about Sitan and Queens and like all this stuff, and I was like, oh man, like, yeah, it's cool. And then it just like popped in my head, and I was like, well, I want to do something, and I look it up, and Sitan was like right down the block for me.
That's so sick.
And yeah, so I just like walked in, took a class, and like this dude Narc trains there too, and he's like an old writer from, I think he started in like the 80s, but he trains there, and he's a whole hardcore dude, and he was like, oh, like we knew the same people, and like there's a lot of people that like I just coincidentally like knew that went there, like train at a different gym, and it's awesome. It's the best.
What are your thoughts in terms of like in terms of the differences of like jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai and boxing? What do you see like is more attractive to you?
I mean, like stylistically, boxing is always more attractive to me, but like practically, it's not. You know what I mean? Like Muay Thai is the most practical of striking to me, at least. Yeah. But like, when I look at boxing, it's just like a more like sleek and like, you know what I mean? It just, everything looks smoother, and it just looks
the
nicer.
head movement's beautiful.
Yeah.
You can't do that in Muay Thai.
No, you just stand there and eat everything.
You'll get kicked in the face. Yeah.
So it's like, I love Muay Thai, and I love the sport of it and the art of it, but like just from a strictly like viewpoint, boxing always looked more attractive.
It's like an art form.
Yeah.
I was boxing at Gleason's a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I switched around gyms in New York a lot, but the first place I started was at Gleason's. And I remember this was before I knew anything about Muay Thai. I still know next to nothing, but just from what I observe on YouTube and stuff. I watch a lot of UFC, and I watch like all the Tiger Muay Thai videos and all that. I have a lot of respect for Muay Thai, and I remember when I used to see it, I'd be like, why are they standing all square? And why aren't they moving their head? They're going to get, you know what I mean, teed up. But that's with boxing rules. But then in real life, when you start adding the chaos factor, especially the clinching is absolutely key. And in boxing, there's really no clinch.
Nah, it's just going to get broken up. The ref's just going to break it up. It's funny too, because when I first started, I immediately, like, just from watching boxing, had a boxing stance. Super, like, foot in front of the other. And they're like, no. And it took me like months to break out of it, because I would always just stand like that. But yeah.
Another thing is too, those leg kicks, they almost, to someone who's never felt them, they'd look like they'd be nothing really. Dude, and they will end your life.
It's because you watch people eat them on TV, and you're just like, oh yeah,
those aren't regular people.
Yeah, it seems. Yeah, exactly. Like, oh yeah, that doesn't seem that bad.
Yep.
And then you eat a real one, and you're like, okay, like this is straight up. I'd rather
take like 2 of those and you're done.
Yeah, dude, I'd rather get kicked in the head. I'm gonna be honest. Like I don't care what happens to my head or my face, but like I get hit in the leg and I'm like, all right, I need to lay down. This is awful, dude.
I was watching this one YouTube video of it was this guy who's clearly a mixed martial artist, because he clearly had boxed before and done Muay Thai, at least the very two. Probably wrestled, now that I think of it. So he's fighting in this parking lot, and he's fighting this one dude, and he leg kicks him, and it's like him alone.
Is
and
it
there's
the parking garage?
Yes.
Oh, dude, yeah, I've seen that. Everybody's seen that video. It's amazing.
And they're like, yo, like, why are you kicking? And he's like, it's a fight. And then the OG steps in, and he's like, you want to kick? You want to kick? And he's like, yeah. He kicks him, and he just gets folded, and he runs at him, gets double legged, and his head slams on the floor.
Yeah, dude, that video is fucking hilarious.
Yeah. I love watching those. Or if you used to watch on MTV the Bully Beatdowns.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When you watch someone who doesn't know what they're doing versus someone who knows,
how fucked up is that show? That's insane.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this guy's an asshole, so we're gonna have a professional fighter literally beat the fuck out of him. Like, yo, that is crazy. Also, the dudes who would participate in that are complete fucking morons. But
they have no idea. And the thing is too, they made it, the rule set, it was very unfair. The first round was strictly grappling. And if you've never trained in grappling, you really have no shot.
Yeah, no, not a chance.
And then the second round, when they're exhausted from that 5-minute grappling match, was striking, so they're gonna get teed up.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Dude, I completely forgot about that show. Exactly. Who's the host?
It
of
was
that show?
Mayhem.
Yeah, and he went like nuts after that.
He was crazy.
Yeah.
He got in the cage one of the times in that show.
I like kind of vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
because
guy-
he was
yeah.
just like the
He
host.
annihilated the dude he
Yeah,
fought.
what the fuck, man? What an insane show.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot that existed.
MTV was awesome.
But yo, speaking of like art forms, I was thinking about how like you saying like Muay Thai doesn't really have like a certain art form, but yo, me and him, we have this dream of like fucking moving to Thailand. I mean, like the dream changes every like week.
Yeah.
But like we want to move to Thailand and open our own gym because we've seen pictures of like people training outside. It's like
This one dude, Willie. I don't know if you follow him, but he's a Muay Thai fighter from Australia. I know it's common to move from Australia to, to Thailand, but he just lives this crazy life.
Oh yeah, I don't follow that dude. I've never seen that. But yo, I follow tons of gyms in Thailand. And let me correct this first. I believe Muay Thai is an insane art form, and it is a very pure art form. Just to me, visually, boxing is what I prefer over that. But don't get it twisted. Muay Thai is a real ancient art form.
Dude.
But yeah, dude, I'm with you guys because I want to say like every year, like a group of us will be like, I'll text somebody like my friend Brendan. I'll be like, dude, let's go to Muay Thai and train. And then I'll text my friend John, who runs American Barbell Club. I'll be like, yeah, like let's go to Thailand. And then I'll like just get everybody in this loop, like Josiah from Criminal Instinct. I'll be like, yeah, you want to do this? And everybody's like, yeah. And then it just doesn't happen. But I swear to fucking God, I'm looking in the camera. It's gonna fucking happen in like a year. We're gonna go for a month, 2 months, something like that.
I went to Thailand, and I went to a Muay Thai gym, but I was strictly boxing at the time. And I just went because I'm in Thailand. I'm going to go to a Muay Thai gym. And I was watching everyone train and stuff. And it was like an outdoor gym. Like a lot of the gyms out there are outdoor gyms.
Yeah.
It was really cool. It was crazy. And I was watching documentaries. The little kids, they start training when they're this big.
Yeah.
And their diet as a fighter is just white rice and
It's crazy.
it's next to nothing.
I mean, dude, it's just the
That's
culture.
their national sport.
Yeah, it's just the culture.
Yeah.
Like it is what it is. You know what I mean? They love it, and that's what they do.
Yeah.
And there's something awesome about that. There's something like oddly like, we living in America look at it as like, oh, it's fucked up. You make those kids do it, but it's like, dude, there's something like very pure and like awesome about that.
Yeah.
There are lessons that you learn when you're fighting and going through situations like that you're just not going to learn in a regular sport.
No.
You
Fuck
won't.
no.
So the average man or female will have a lot more, I guess, like integrity and character because they know what it is to be humbled on a daily basis and to really push yourself on another level.
Yo, I talk about that all the time, like, especially like in like the trades, you run into a lot of assholes.
Yeah.
And that's just like the way it is. But like, yo, you sometimes like you just know like this dude has never been beat up before, and that's why he is the way he is. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucked up because you want to just like sometimes you want to just smash somebody because you know that when they get hit, they're just gonna be like, oh, like because they've never had that humbling experience before. But you always just kind of like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like you just brush it off. And
Especially as you really learn whatever specific discipline you're in, whether it be Muay Thai or Jiu-Jitsu or wrestling or whatever, like boxing, you know what's going to happen if you get into a fight with them. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be like a busted lip. There's going to, especially if they don't know anything, it's going to be a serious issue that you're better off just avoiding 100%. As a whole because what do? I leg kick this guy, he falls, and then I feint it again, I kick him in the head, and now he's dead. Or now he's on the floor. I have to run away from my life.
Yo, I mean, dude, people have killed each other in lesser situations. You know what I mean? Like just accidentally, like in a dumb street fight, you just like hit somebody the wrong way, they hit their head. That's it. Your whole life is fucked. Yeah. And it's like over what?
Do you know Jordan from Rude Awakening, right?
Yeah.
I saw you were rocking one of his True Path t-shirts.
Yeah, hell yeah.
He just posted the other day on his story about how people who haven't been in these situations have no idea how quickly an argument between two men can turn into an actual life or death scenario.
Yeah. Straight up,
talks
dude.
about like self-defense and like the best self-defense out there in his opinion is jiu-jitsu to learn, And we were talking about the kids. It's funny because we were just talking about that the other day. He sent me a meme. It was like, we should have this instead of this, and half the meme was like
just people on their cell phones.
It was like no, it was the one where it was two little girls. They're like 5 years old or something, and they're wearing jiu-jitsu gis, and they're like talking to each other on the bleachers. and the other half was like I don't know if you know about the new series on Netflix, the Cuties shit. It like promotes like some type of like pedophilia shit.
That's about. Yeah.
So like it just shows that like if we have this certain level of discipline of like the youth learning a martial art like jiu-jitsu, instead of them being brainwashed by some fucking bullshit like that, is just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, dude, I'm with you, man. Like I was saying, like I wrestled when I was young and I was in high school, and I loved wrestling, and like, it taught me a lot about like self-discipline and things like that. But I don't think it really clicked in my head that like something like that teaches you so much more about life, and you don't even realize it. You know what I mean? It teaches you how to carry yourself and how to present yourself to people. And like, I mean, I sound like I'm a fucking 80-year-old man, but it's like, dude, kids these days don't need that shit. At least the way I see it, like they seem to need that kind of shit and they don't have it. I mean, it's cool. At Citan, like I see so many kids in their classes, and it's awesome.
It's amazing.
It's awesome.
No,
I fucking love it. Like gets me, like I can't be like, hell yeah, like I can't talk to them about it, but like I watch, like I'm like, oh yeah, this is fucking awesome. Like I'm happy that like kids want to learn shit like this.